This should clean that. Well, welcome. If you're on the replay, please drop a thumbs up in the comment section. I would really appreciate just to see that you are hopping onto the replay. That'll be great. Welcome to another Saturday session, live broadcast. And let's just get the podcast episode going as well. Good morning and welcome to Keeping the Passion Flame Burning in Your Marriage. This is Relationship Saturday. I'm getting really excited about doing the Saturday session simply because it's the most plays that I'm getting and the most views that I'm getting. So that's really exciting. Really great to have you with me. And as I said, if you're live, great to have you here. If you are on the replay, please give us a thumbs up and let us know you are on the replay. And maybe give a wave so that we can get started. Yes, absolutely. I thank you. I'm really excited about these Saturday sessions. It's becoming something, and there's something growing out of it that I think more will develop from here. So let us. I don't want to keep it too long. I really want to just get into what we're going to talk about today. And I know a lot of people jump on later with this, but that's fine. And definitely on the Leadership Boost podcast with your host, Sean Smith, and I'm talking there as well. We have a lot of plays coming onto the Relationship Saturday episodes. So that's really great. I mean, not only on the broadcast, but also the live broadcast, but also on the podcast episode as well. If I'm sounding a little nasal, I am, and so I'm just gonna jump on anyway. And if my throat gets a little bit hoarse, then it is getting hoarse. All right. So today, and you may, I don't know if if you're playing this loud, you may want to put on headset or because I'm going to maybe get a bit real. I'm not sure. I've got a few points that I want to mention, but I think this is like, all right, let's just get started. And, you can always get a headset if you've got kids around. And so that you can get the full impact of what I'm talking about, because I'm going to really condense this down. There is so much more to this topic that I'd love to share, because when Michelle and I began to prepare for marriage, and we didn't have any input. We didn't have, we had the normal church counseling. We had some pastor friends that gave us some input, but there was no like structured process of planning a marriage and discussing and dealing with the issues that we had. Michelle and I came from two totally different backgrounds. Her background was very Pentecostal, very much more religious. Mine was like this, my family wasn't church going at all, so it was an all out kind of anything goes kind of situation. And so here we come, from my home. Sex was discussed openly. It was like not a very quiet subject. Michelle's home hardly discussed it. So two different cultural kind of settings that we had, and here we're thrown together. And we had no process of discussing these things of um, what is important, what's not important, what you need to know, what you don't need to know. So communication didn't happen in this area. We're thrown together, and here, bang, boom, boosh, we are uh, we are now trying to make this thing work. And I'm talking about stuff, and Michelle's going, I don't want to talk about it. So, however, we overcame those things. But what in that process, what I discovered, somebody said this: if there's rocks in the bed, there's rocks in the marriage. If there's stones in the bed, there's rocks in the marriage. That's what they said. If there's stones in the marriage bed, there's rocks in the marriage, and that is the absolute truth. If there's a breakdown there, a whole lot of things begin to manifest in other areas of the marriage. So never, this is a quote that I found, never give up on something you really want. Never give up. Well, let me carry on. It's difficult to be patient, but more difficult to regret. Never give up on something you really want, because it's difficult to be patient, but more difficult to regret. And so many marriages get to a point, so many relationships get to a point of, in a few years, busyness kicks in, and family responsibilities, house, life goes on, and suddenly you wake up one day and you feel like you've grown apart. You feel lonely. You feel like there's a divide, and suddenly you want to be connected, but you're not connected anymore. So now you start saying things, you start trying to manipulate the situation to get it back together again, to get it back to where you once were, and manipulation never works. And suddenly you feel like the passion has stopped the burning. Now, when I talk about passion, I'm talking about that place, that desire, where you desire one another to the point that intimacy actually happens, that sex actually does happen, that you are making love. So there has to be a progression, but somewhere along the line, that whole thing stops happening, and we start criticizing, we start judging, we start accusing, blaming, manipulating, because now we start sulking because our needs are not being met, and now it becomes a massive problem. So people give up at that point in time. Somewhere along the line, they give up. Not everybody, but a lot of people, a lot of couples, start giving up on each other, or one of them start giving up on each other. And now what happens is a cynicism. Again, it's the same as from last week. It's just like now a hardness begins to develop, a lack of communication begins. We stop talking because a fundamental need is not being met in the marriage, and that fundamental need is very, very important. You understand? A pressure begins to build up within the context of the sexual relationship between a husband and wife, and that tension begins to grow really, really deeply, to the point that it actually begins to break down. You can have, and the thing is, I'm not going to get into all the aspects of it. And yes, there are other elements involved that may need counseling, that may need, more professional. I'm not a professional counselor. I'm not a psychotherapist, and I'm not a psychologist. And so I'm not coming with that idea in mind. I'm just talking about a normal relationship where two people start becoming estranged because the very intimacy that needs to be built is lacking, and now the blame game begins, and distraction happens, and that's where the problem begins really deep down. And that estrangement happens. When that estrangement happens, now there needs to be a rekindling. There's something about seeing a husband and a wife that are in love. Now, I go onto forums just to see what people are saying, because that's where I'm sort of getting what's happening, and I begin to measure what's happening in the culture of the day, what people are saying within couples, etc. And one of the things that's often being said now is, um, he told me he's fallen out of love with me, or she told me she's fallen out of love with me. And you somebody said this: you fall in love by chance. In a sense, it's not by chance, but you do fall in love. And with that, like that amazing person that you meet, and suddenly you just go, wow. I mean, just connection, there's sparks, there's chemistry, something happens. Or it doesn't have to be neon lights and thunder, lightning flashes, but something connects, and you just know this is the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. And so you fall in love. Staying in love is a choice. You fall in love because, like I say, it could be by chance. It just is like, you don't choose to fall in love. You just meet that person and just, wow, it just grabs you. It's like Adam when he saw Eve going, woman, this is like, yes, this is my life mate, and, but what happens after that is by choice. It's a decision. Love after that is, I choose to fall in love with you every day, even when it's hard, even when it's difficult. And because I value you, because I value our relationship, I choose to fall in love with you day after day, moment after moment. And sometimes we need to step away again and admire our partner, admire our spouse, admire our wife or husband just for who they are. The thing is, when despising creeps in, that's when suddenly it's like we despise them for what they're doing. But it's the despising is really a result of, I'm not able to control this thing so that I can get my needs met. Now, let me share this with you. Great to have you guys with me. Now, let me share this with you, is that for men don't want sex, they need it. Men need sex, but men do not come and want to demand it. Sometimes they do, and I don't want to talk about the immaturity of that, but they don't want to feel like they are violating something. They'll just step back and go into a lonely place, lonelier and lonelier, and communication begins to stop happening. And when there's no communication, then that isolation, that estrangement grows even further apart. So if this is making sense to you, won't you drop me a yes in the comment box? It doesn't mean it's happening to you, but if you understand what I'm talking about, it would be great. So why does your passion stop burning? Because it takes passion for us to get into that place. And understand, passion is not an act. Passion is a place you go to. Falling in love is a place. Having a great sexual relationship with husband and wife is a place you go to. It's not just an act. It's something you arrive at within your heart and your mind and your attitude. But why does it stop? Well, because of loneliness. Because there's that estrangement happens, and suddenly you get lonely. Suddenly you begin to withdraw and you feel that loneliness. You're laying in bed and your spouse is not interested in you. I've got a headache, or I don't feel like it now. And this can be male and female, husband or wife. Both have that. There may be this distraction. It may be because they're busy, they're stressed, because um, they've they're distracted. They've got too much responsibility, and so you begin to lose your sense of adventure, your sense of spontaneity, your sense of novelty, your sense of mystery, and you lose that place of imagination. And when you get, and that's really that's the place when you lose that sense of that, suddenly it's not important anymore. But it's more important than you think. It's more important than you think. I love what the Message Bible says this: sexual drives are strong, but marriage is strong enough to contain them and to provide for a balanced and fulfilling sexual life in a world of sexual disorder. The marriage bed must be a place of mutuality. The husband seeking to satisfy his wife, the wife seeking to satisfy her husband. Marriage is not a place to stand up for your rights. Marriage is a decision to serve the other, whether in bed or out. I love that, because that sort of is the principle involved here. The first principle that we need to understand is that I have to, as a marriage partner, I have to serve your need in that area. There's two things. First, there is self-awareness. I need to bring myself into that place and be present. I've got to be present in that place of meeting the sexual need, of meeting that, of being passionate, let's put it that way, of being passionate about my spouse, my wife, or for your husband. I have to be present. But then I have to be considerate of them. I have to be aware of them as well. It's not just about me, it's about us. It's about what do they need. And when I lose my sense of adventure, spontaneity, novelty, mystery, that's what passion is made of. Passion is that I want that not that responsible person that can handle the duties, that can provide, that can do a job. I want to come into the bedroom space where we discover each other again, where there is that sense of adventure and imagination, spontaneity, novelty, mystery. I don't want distractions there. Do you know that I was listening to something this week, and they were saying that 25% of married couples, 25% of married couples are looking at their smartphone during the act, and 35% straight after the act. That is like immediate separation. Your next intimate encounter begins after the last one. I'm getting a bit real here, but this is what marriage is made of. We're hearing that 50 to 70% of marriages fail. And I'm talking about in America amongst conservatives, Bible-believing people, that 50 to 70% of marriages fail. That is huge, huge. And I ask why. And most of it is, another statistic I heard is that 70% of Christian men are dabbling in some form or fashion of pornography. It's now become the same with women as well, with wives. So what is the situation here? There's a frustration that's happening, an estrangement, a place that we've lost. Something that I I said to Michelle a number of years ago, I mean, we're going back maybe, oh gosh, maybe 20 years ago or so. I said we had a situation where there was an estrangement beginning to happen, and we weren't communicating too well on this issue. And so there was frustration, there was anger, and it was really around this thing. Do you know that second to finances in marriage, sex is the top rated problem causing estrangement, separation, divorce, unhappy marriages? Top is finances, second is sex as a result of no passion. So we got to the situation, and we sat down with a mentor at that point in time and said, we need to just talk this thing through. And him and his wife sat with us, and we spoke a while, and they hit it right on the nail with us. They said, you are discussing your ministry in the bedroom. You're discussing business, you're discussing people, you're discussing situations in the bedroom. And the bedroom is for intimacy. Always keep the bedroom for intimacy. And wow, it sounds simple, but it was like, yeah, that's exactly what we were doing. We were laying in bed talking about things that the stress would build, and what it was doing was estranging us from each other. Intimacy was being lost because our minds were now losing our focus on each other. So passion is a strong and barely controllable emotion. Wow, we need some of that back in marriages for each other. I love King Solomon he says, my desire is towards, he's actually talking to his son, and he says, your desire must be towards your wife only, and her breasts must satisfy you all the days of your life, being intoxicated with the love of the wife of your youth. Intoxicated, in other words, be drunk with her love. And it goes vice versa as well. Wives, you need to begin again to look at your husbands with a new set of eyes, with a new perspective. Step away. And don't wait for the feeling to come. Let me say this, is how do you get it back? How do you get passion burning again? How do you get it back, or how do you keep it burning in your marriage? And the answer there is passion follows desire. Desire follows focus. Focus follows attention. Give passion, give your sexual relationship attention, and passion will follow. Will follow. So what do you need to do? You need to be present. As I said, be aware of yourself, be aware of your partner. Be considerate. Be considerate, as the Message Bible talks about. Be considerate of your partner. It's not your right to yourself anymore. Your responsibility is to them, regardless. Be giving. Be giving. Abandon responsibility at that point in time. Turn off the phones. Forget the chores. Forget the business. Forget everything. Forget the issues. Even forget the financial issues. Be focused at that point in time. Flirt. Touch each other. Make a point, even if your love language is not touching, touch. Touching is important. Never go to sleep at night without touching your spouse, your wife or your husband. For touch them before you go to sleep. It removes all separation. Hug often. Be close. And even when you think you're not in that place or not ready to be in that place, go into that place anyway. And desire follows. When you give attention and you focus on your spouse and you focus on desire for them, passion comes. Passion comes. We may fall in love by choice, but we stay in love by choice. So I've given you a lot. There's a whole lot more. And I don't want to, I can't get into all the other possibilities, but I really want to leave you with this thought. And I know I'm sort of diving into stuff that maybe, should we be talking about this on a Facebook Live or on a podcast? Listen, this is real. This is life. Marriages, are living in agony. Many marriages are living in the pain and of rejection, the pain of misunderstanding, the lack of communication. Many marriages end up in being estranged to the point of separation and divorce because stones in the bed produce rocks in the marriage. And so, I really feel this to me is one of the big things. It all comes down to, again, communication. I'm communicating this with you because it's such an important aspect of marriage. And I really pray and I hope that I'll inspire something for you to go and discuss and talk about this. And maybe sit down together and listen to this broadcast together, or the podcast on the Leadership Boost together. I'll be posting that now. And listen to it together and say, where are we? Where are we right now? Have we lost our sense of adventure and our sense of just that mystery? I want you to be a mystery. I want that mystery. Listen, I want you to smile again. I want you to enjoy me again. I want to be attracted to you. I want you to be attracted to me. Yes, we've developed our middle-aged plumps and bumps and stretch marks and gravity's kicked in, and I've got more hair on my back than I have on my head. But can I choose? Will you choose to fall in love with me over and over again? Have a discussion and communicate these things. Communication is everything. And when that desire, I'm telling you, when you desire one another, you're passionate about one another again, and you not just meeting each other's needs, but you are fulfilling each other again, and enjoying each other, and having that spontaneity, and experiencing the mystery of each other. Not this responsible, religious, I need to meet your, I'm going to fulfill my duty. Don't do that. Be spontaneous, be adventurous, find the novelty, flirt with each other, romance each other, enjoy each other, because where your attention is, that's where your desire, where your focus is, This is really, my whole talk came out of that one equation, and I carry that always with me in so many areas, but this one area is also because people go, I've fallen out of love, I don't love him anymore, and the question is, I'm not getting enough sex. We don't have a sexual relationship anymore. It's like once a year kind of thing. this is really, really bad, and your kids pick it up. It's just bad for longevity. And so now you get to 50 years old, 40 years old, and people are getting divorced. 60 years old, and they're getting divorced because, you know, somebody else comes along. Michelle always used to. One more thing. What Michelle always used to say to me: if there's a Cadillac in the garage, you will never look at a Volkswagen Beetle when it comes past. And she lived up to that. She lives up to that. Are you the Cadillac in your spouse's garage? That there's something so amazing, and it could be whatever fancy car it is that you'll never be distracted by somebody else's car. Because somebody else, if your spouse is frustrated and somebody else comes along, or the internet comes along and they get distracted, don't allow them to get distracted to that point. Keep them at home, keep them in the bedroom, keep them happy. Not just happy, fulfilled, excited, passionate about you. All right. I hope that answers some of your questions. I hope that helps you. I hope that, me, I'm too old to worry about what people think about me. So I just put it out there because I want you to have an exciting, passionate, healthy, happy marriage. For me, that's like most important of all. And, you know, so I put it out there. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm putting it straight. And so I just pray that you'll take it right. And if you don't, well, it's nothing I can do about it. But you can deny it. But the fact of the matter is, it's the truth that we're dealing with, isn't it? Isn't it? It's the truth that we're dealing with. All right. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Hey, pop your questions over. I'd love to do some question and answer sessions as well. So if you want to DM me, send me a direct message, or you can email me at seanpsmith@gmail.com, and just fire your question. I won't use your name. I'll do it anonymously and answer the question for you on one of these sessions, and I'll probably let you know, unless I get a couple of hundred, then I can't let everybody know all the time. But you'll be here every Saturday, or you'll catch up during the week sometime. And but DM me your question regarding marriage, building and planning an exciting, successful marriage relationship, building longevity and happiness into your marriage. That's what I want to do. Is I just want to help you be the best that you can be. Michelle and I have been married nearly 40 years, and through it all, we just enjoy each other tremendously, and I'm so glad to have her. So I thought that's what I wanted to share with you on some of these issues that are very pertinent and very important. All right, so thank you for being with me on this live broadcast and on this episode, the Leadership Boost podcast. Very grateful for your attendance and being here as well. All right, so until next time, this is Sean saying over and out.